India is called the blind capital of the world because 40% of the world's blinds reside here. Not long ago, buying specs meant shelling out a huge sum at a local optician or worse. Just living with poor vision, glasses were uncool and often the last resort. Fast forward to today and Lenskart, a startup born just 15 years back, has turned the situation on its head. Glasses are now a fashion statement. You can even try them in 3D on your phone, and an army of Lenskart bikes will even come to your home to test your eyes for free. And get this, Lenskart today runs more than 2,000 stores in India, which is more than 2x of the next competitor. But the question is, despite being a major public health crisis, why have Indians always given a stepchild treatment to eye care? How did a startup like Lenskart become the undisputed king of eyewear in India, beating even Tata's Titan Eye Plus? How on earth did Lenskart scale an old school eyewear business into a tech company valued at more than 70,000 crores? And what can we, as students of brands and businesses, learn from this Maruti of eyewear? Alright then, put on your favorite frames because it's time to dive in. Let's begin this by understanding India's eye problem first. You see, in 2010, India was called the blind capital of the world. Around 40% of the world's blind population lived in India, mainly due to uncorrected refractive errors. Why? Because glasses were either too expensive, uncool, people often didn't even realize they needed them, or those in tier 2 and beyond often lacked access to opticians and optometrists. Moreover, refractive errors on the rise due to evolving lifestyles of people. Just think about how much more time you spend on your phone due to social media, how much less outdoor activities do you pursue, or higher air pollution in our cities and shorter sleep cycles. Mind you, in India, the number of individuals affected by refractive errors were at 43% 5 years back, which today is at 53% and is projected to rise to 62% in the next 5 years. And this condition has nearly doubled in children and teenagers in the last 5 years. Moreover, we lag behind other countries in eyeglasses usage. 65%, yes, 65% of Indians who need specs don't use them. And what happens when people don't wear specs? As per the WHO, India suffers an economic loss of $30 to $45 billion annually because of this. Bad vision reduces the efficiency of workers, increases the chances of errors, and also threatens safety. It was this world a young engineer, Piyush Bansal, set out to revolutionize. While working at Microsoft in the US before starting out Lenskart, Piyush had the opportunity to meet Bill Gates, whose vision and passion for tackling big challenges inspired him. Motivated, Piyush made the decision to return to India, determined to create change. In 2010, he launched Lenskart.com with his co-founders Amit Chaudhary and Sumit Kapahi. But let's be clear, selling eyeglasses online at that time seemed crazy. But Piyush had been paying close attention to the rise of early consumer internet companies like Flipkart in India, which were beginning to reshape how Indians shopped. He recognized a powerful shift. People were slowly but steadily trusting online platforms for their everyday purchases. And that's where Lenskart stood out with its mindset of a tech startup solving a consumer pain point. I'll repeat that again, a tech startup solving consumer pain point. But what did they do differently? Lenskart began by addressing the most fundamental issue, that of the absence of regular eye checkups in India. This existed due to lack of awareness and shortage of optometrists. You see, unlike Japan and Singapore, where regular eye tests are a norm, nobody in India checks their eyes until their vision is impaired, as this is not even covered in insurance checkups. Also, the limited availability of optometrists at traditional shops meant customers had to test themselves at private clinics or hospitals where the fees was higher, causing more friction. So, Lenskart came out with a game-changing idea. They launched free eye checkups at home, which you could book from their website very easily. If you were too busy or your grandma couldn't travel, it was not a problem, as Lenskart would now come to you and even carry hundreds of frames for you to try. This worked wonders, as 1 in 2 checkups turned into a sale as per a 2015 news report. Today, Lenskart performs the highest number of eye tests amongst all brands in India. Secondly, for people to feel comfortable while purchasing specs online, the techies even built a 3D virtual try-on feature on their website where All you had to do was open your camera, point it towards your face, and you could see how a frame would look on you. Back in the 2010s, this felt nothing short of magic and addressed a common concern people had while choosing their frames online. Third, Lenskart knew that to beat the neighborhood store, they needed speed and precision to be on their side. So they used lots of tech in the back end. They used robotic techniques in the factories which ensured that their products were made without any error. An assembly that might take an optician an hour, Lenskart's machines did it in minutes. Tech wasn't just in the app. It was in the entire company, allowing Lenskart to scale to thousands of orders a day without choking on any quality issues. But the most important thing is to hook the attention of the Indian customer, so they came out with some out-of-the-box genius ideas. They launched offers like 1+1 free for Lenskart Gold customers and the first frame free for all new customers, which got more and more people to walk into the Lenskart store.
But the catch? Customers still had to pay for the lens.
And this is a classic razor and blades approach which companies like Gillette have used in the past, wherein a low-priced razor acts as a hook, but the money is made in the sale of many expensive blades. Here too, the real money was made not in the frames, but in the sales of higher priced lenses. When local shops sometimes charge hefty prices like 2,000 to 5,000 rupees for an ordinary set of eyeglasses, Lenskart's disruptive pricing changed it all. And once customers saw this, many of them never went back to overpaying their local shop. But how did they do this? You see, traditional shops operate with many intermediaries in between who add their own margins, which you and I pay from our pockets. At Lenskart, they took charge of the entire value chain by cutting out the middlemen and their markups, which meant that the average cost for them was 35 to 40% lower than the industry average. This even gave them more control, which allowed them to deliver quicker. Today, Lenskart is the only eyewear retailer in the country to have a next day delivery option for more than 40 cities. Lastly, they made glasses cool. Remember how wearing glasses in school felt nerdy or uncool? Lenskart flipped the script with colorful design, trending frames, and even roped in celebrities to flaunt them. Young people started to see glasses as a style accessory and not just a medical necessity. What this did was that the same person now even thought of owning multiple glasses to pair with different outfits on different occasions. In fact, a Lenskart customer bought 3.6 glasses over 2 years, which was 2x of that of the India average, showcasing Lenskart's ability to break the rules in a low frequency purchase category. All these strategies, free services, large discounts, and tech development were expensive. But Lenskart was playing a long game. It built an incredible moat, that of convenience at a lower price and a quicker turnaround, and that with more frame options. The local optician couldn't provide you free home visits or 1,000 frame options, while the big retail chains didn't have such low prices or AR try-ons. Lenskart positioned itself as the ultimate one-stop shop for eyewear, and customers responded, and the startup's vision was now taking off. But Piyush deep down knew that to make this a true disruptor, the brand had to go offline and become really omni-channel. Going offline would earn the trust of even skeptical customers who could now touch and feel the frames before buying. Even today, less than 5% of eyewear sales in India takes place online, which is so low because it's 25% for fashion and 50% for electronics. And here's where Lenskart really defied gravity. While most retail chains take decades to expand and startups often fail in offline businesses, Lenskart did the unthinkable. They opened hundreds of kiosks and small shops inside malls and markets, which were all brightly lit with iPads and mirrors, where the vibe was for anyone to come and try 100 frames without the pressure of buying. They even let you order on the app while being inside the store, which was truly omni-channel in every sense. They raised money from Ronnie Screwwala's venture fund and Chirate Ventures, where the money was put into stores. And by 2019, Lenskart had more than 500 outlets in 100 plus cities, from metros like Bombay and Delhi to tier 2 cities like Lucknow and Kochi. A lot of this expansion came on the back of their franchisee partners. And the result was now that many towns which never even had a proper optical store now had a Lenskart within them. The company's revenue that kept soaring from more than 160 crores in FY17 to 900 crores by FY20. Then came the big milestone. SoftBank's Vision Fund, yes, that's what it's called, invested around $230 million in Lenskart in late 2019. And there you go. Lenskart became a unicorn. When the world's biggest tech investor backs you, everyone takes note. Lenskart doubled down on tech and logistics so that now they could deliver custom eyeglasses to your doorstep within a day or two. They also started eyeing markets outside India, but more on that in some time. Importantly, SoftBank's infusion meant that Lenskart could afford to keep their prices low and the offers ongoing. But were they prepared for the twist that was in store? Well, what am I talking about? Guys, don't forget COVID-19. When the malls were shut, people were working from home and blue-collar employees wanted to head back to their villages. You would think an eyewear retailer with hundreds of stores would suffer, right? Not Lenskart. They turned their factory into a campus for their 80 to 100 employees. They set up a new helpline and rerouted the calls of all customers to Lenskart store staff who were now working from home. In fact, they were the only major opticians who were serving the country digitally at the time. So, if someone in a remote town broke their specs, Lenskart was the only true savior. Those few months of the pandemic earned Lenskart thousands of new customers. Talk about turning an adversity into opportunity. While it had scaled its business to 900 crores in revenue by FY20, that number more than 4x'd after the pandemic, and Lenskart hit 3788 crores in FY23. And here's the kicker. They were no longer loss making but were now profitable at the EBITDA level. Now, to truly appreciate Lenskart's dominance, let's stack it up against its competitors. On one hand, you have the unorganized sector. Think of the thousands of mom and pop local shops who even till date have the biggest share. In fact, the organized sector like the Lenskarts, the Titan Eye Plus, the GKVs or the Gangars have only a 23% share in India, which is much lower than other countries. Within the brands, the big Goliath like Titan Eye Plus came from the house of Tatas and had decades of retail experience. But last year, Titan's eyewear division made just about 800 crores in revenue, a fraction when compared to the 6600 crores plus top line of Lenskart in FY25. Even if I were to exclude Lenskart's overseas business, which we'll discuss ahead, Lenskart is more than 5x of Titan Eye Plus in India. Meanwhile, when it comes to online, Lenskart has a clear-cut upper hand over Titan Eye Plus, which got only 6% of its revenue via online in 2022. Lenskart, on the other hand, gets 24% of its eyewear sales online. Also, the fact that eyewear is not even 2% of Titan's overall size, which comprises mainly of Tanishq, Fastrack and Titan watches, means that eyewear is relatively less important for the management. And you know what's the irony here? Even the late Ratan Tata invested in Lenskart in 2016, showing his conviction in the company. Essentially, Lenskart had built a distribution network so good that it was tough to replicate, with its top-rated app, website, hundreds of stores, and the unique home service network. Wherever the customer was, whether in a city or in a smaller town or even on your sofa, Lenskart was there to come to you. But what about those local opticians? Well, they lost to Lenskart on 4 counts. First, pricing. Second, the variety of frame options that Lenskart gave. Third, these smaller stores had very less say over the design, which was ultimately chosen by the manufacturer. But in the case of Lenskart, everything was vertically integrated, meaning that Lenskart had an in-house design team to design their products based on the customer feedback at the stores. And fourth, many of these local opticians didn't have an in-house optometrist or one who could check the customer's eyesight. Today, Lenskart has created several large in-house brands like John Jacob and Vincent Chase, which are the top 3 eyeglass brands of India in terms of sales. And mind you, a lot of this is on the back of only Lenskart's distribution. Further, with Piyush Bansal coming in himself as a shark on Shark Tank, that has helped the brand to build a personal connect with the audience. If I were to ask you guys about a chain of eyewear stores, Lenskart would be the first brand to strike most of you.
And this is what the best founders do. They capture mind share, which translates into market share eventually.
Today, India's total market size for eyewear is 78,800 crores and it's growing at 13% every year, which is 3 times that of the global average. Prescription eyeglasses, or basically your specs, constitute the biggest chunk of this pie at 73%, followed by sunglasses and contact lenses. With Lenskart at just a 4 to 6% market share today, since the India market is so heavily contested by the unorganized segment, I would say Lenskart still has a large headroom to grow with. But they aren't stopping at India, which brings us to the party we're waiting for. You see, for most brands, dominating in India would be the ultimate milestone, but not for Lenskart, where Piyush Bansal wants to make a brand for the world out of India. At the same time, he was also aware of the chaos that had followed when other Indian companies had scaled globally too fast too soon. For example, Zomato went global in 2012 and scaled to 24 countries within 3 years. With rising customer acquisition costs and different regulatory complexities, Zomato had to ultimately exit most of its international operations. And hence, his approach was more measured. His expansion strategy was more selective, wherein he targeted markets like Singapore, UAE and Japan, where the customer behavior and market dynamics was somewhat more similar to that in India. And instead of starting out from scratch, Lenskart partnered with or acquired local players. Rather than forcing the Lenskart brand everywhere, they acquired the brands that people already love and supercharged them with their expertise. In 2022, Lenskart made the headlines when it acquired the Japanese player Owndays for $400 million. Owndays is a big brand with more than 400 stores across Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand and so on. For example, Owndays had a 20% market share in Singapore. By buying brands like these, Lenskart didn't just enter those foreign markets. It became a market leader in many of them overnight. And what's the best part? Glasses sell in India for an average of $28 or around 2400 rupees. And this soars to more than 5x, more than $140 in Japan. So through Owndays, Lenskart is playing in the premium Japanese market. And the genius here? Lenskart is juicing out higher prices in the foreign markets by plugging Owndays into the Indian supply chain. They have raised the product margins on their international business from 70% 2 years back to more than 74% now. Lenskart is one of those rare Indian startups which is producing for customers whether in Dubai or Singapore right from India. Similarly, in July this year, it acquired an 80% stake in Spanish fashion eyewear retailer Meller for around 407 crores. And you know what's the crazy part? The company now has more than 650 stores outside India, which churn up more than 40% of Lenskart's overall business. Yes, more than 40% of Lenskart's business now comes from abroad. This is outstanding for the company as Lenskart earns 12% more margin in overseas business compared to India. In FY25, the company's top line grew 22% to hit 6652 crores at a 15% EBITDA, and it posted its first net profit at around 300 crores.
And yes, while few people may point out that the company earned its profits due to the 357 crore worth of other income such as FD interest or mutual fund gains, but the company has been EBITDA positive for a couple of years now.
And fueling all this expansion needs more capital. So, big institutional houses like KKR, Temasek, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority and Alphawave Global have joined the cap table in recent years. Lenskart is now looking to go public
with a 7,300 crore IPO, which comprises a fresh issue of shares of 2,150 crores where the funds will be infused into the company. The balance proceeds will go to the investors selling shares in the IPO. All of this at a valuation of 70,000 crores, which is almost 11 times of last year's sales and at a more than 230x PE. Though I would not look at PE as a key metric here, as the net profit range for Lenskart has still not stabilized and includes plenty of accounting items, but at an 11 times to sales, the valuation sought by Piyush is very, very expensive to say the least. However, our focus for this video is not on the valuation or whether you should buy the shares tomorrow or not, but to spread awareness on what made a startup like Lenskart stand out in an orthodox market.
With this, we'll delve into the learnings that we as enthusiasts of brands and businesses must know of. First, creating and owning the demand. Lenskart knew that millions of Indians didn't even know that they required specs or were just procrastinating the purchase. By removing the friction with free eye checkups and at-home trials, they essentially created demand. And once people understood they required glasses, Lenskart was right there to sell it to them. It was kind of like the Apple strategy, wherein they first removed the headphone jack only to create more demand for the AirPods. Second, innovate the experience. When you're a new entrant in the market, customers won't overnight shift from the existing product or behavior unless your product is much better. With Lenskart, Think of the first time you used a 3D try-on facility or had an optometrist come home and help you select frames. It felt almost magical, right? And behind the scenes, their robotic labs and absence of middlemen meant that orders were delivered quicker and at a reasonable cost. Third, adapt and scale with agility. Lenskart started as a digital brand, but quickly realized that we Indians love the touch and feel experience before purchasing our specs, which is why they ventured into stores. And during COVID, they again made use of their digital capabilities. And hence, by being customer obsessed and not format obsessed, Lenskart truly loved. Lenskart was able to meet the requirements of the customer wherever they were. Fourth, expansion at all costs will lead you to nowhere. And that's where Lenskart's overseas strategy stands out, as it's a carefully measured approach. So, this is the story of how a young Indian founder went from solving one of India's biggest public health crises to building one of its most loved brands. With the right vision and strategy, even the most old-fashioned industry can be challenged and truly disrupted. That's a wrap for today, guys. If you learned something new, please hit the like button. It may be a simple like for you, but for us, it helps us to reach more and more curious minds. And if you want to keep decoding brands and businesses with me, click on the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on the next one. I promise to keep delivering more and more value to you. Thanks for watching. Maybe in your Lenskart glasses. I'll see you soon.